Hi everyone, this is Justin Talbot from the Milwaukee office. I'm a senior patent agent with our group and have been tasked with bringing you all a little bit of cocktail insight from the great state of Wisconsin. So I'm going to make a limeade, a non-alcoholic limeade for us today, and then a couple of different options of the favorite cocktail of the great state of Wisconsin, the Brandy Old Fashioned, which is significantly different than the more classic version of the Old Fashioned that some of you might be accustomed to. So for the limeade, what we're going to do is we're going to put it in a Collins glass. So we're going to take that, and we're going to take some limes. First we're going to cut a lime in half here. And with a measuring cup, we're going to steal 2 ounces of lime juice. So you should be able to get that from one nice lime. If you didn't get great limes from the store, which happens, you might need more than one. I needed a little bit more than one, so I've got an extra half ready here. Okay, so 2 ounces of lime juice. We're going to do it as a built cocktail, so that's going to go right in. 2 ounces of lime juice. Then I have a little bit of rich simple syrup here. I like to have rich simple syrup around for making cocktails just because the syrup is a lot easier to use than raw sugar. You have to shake a lot less, you get a lot smoother mouthfeel out of your cocktails and stuff that way. Same goes for non-alcoholic cocktails. So I'm going to use 1.5 ounces of that simple syrup. It's really easy to make. I wouldn't recommend buying simple syrup. I like making a little bit of a thicker syrup, so this is just 2 cups of sugar with 1 cup of water on the stove top for about 90 seconds and it'll come together. Put it in a spare bottle that you have sitting around, and then you've got that for making cocktails with. Okay, so we have some sugar and some lime juice in there, so that's a very sweet, tart concoction that we have. Now to dress up this limeade a little bit, we're going to take some peppercorns, whole peppercorns. I've got some French green pepper mix here, which is nice. I'm just going to take maybe half a teaspoon of those and just roughly crush them with the edge of my knife here. I'm going to scoop those up and drop them right in. Pepper adds a really nice fruity flavor, which is actually interesting. I think normally you think of that pepper flavor profile as more of a spicy flavor, and it does add a little bit of bite to the drink, but it's kind of adds a nice fruitiness once it gets incorporated in there. Onto that, I'm just going to drop some ice cubes, chill that down nice, and then we're going to top it with soda. Club soda, sparkling water, whatever you have around, just to lengthen that out. If you just drink that syrup straight, it's going to be really, really intense. So here we're just going to give that a little bit of a stir. We've got the little pepper flakes in there, and then we're going to top it with something that smells nice, just a little sprig of lime or a sprig of mint on top, and you've got a really nice non-alcoholic spritz, a little bit dressed up. If you want to put a little float of bitters on top of that, that can be nice. Limeades are really easy to dress up with whatever you have. If you have spare fruit hiding around, you can add some fruit muddled in the bottom of that and really kind of make it a nice non-alcoholic sipper for those times you're wanting to treat yourself a little bit but don't want the alcoholic kick. Okay, then for the Old Fashions, that's going to be somewhat more involved, but not altogether that much more involved. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with fruit, which is where we diverge instantly from the classic Old Fashioned. In a Brandy Old Fashioned, Wisconsin style, there's a lot of different options, but all of them are going to start with a fruit muddling. So we're going to give, I've got orange wedges here that are, maybe 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch thick, and you're going to get half of a wedge into each glass. I'm going to make 3 different variations of this one, and then we're going to do a 4th, more dressed up version for the Wisconsin folk who are used to drinking this in all of their towny bars across the state. So on top of those, what we are going to add are some cocktail cherries. So you can use the American style maraschino cherries that we all grew up with, the neon colored ones, or you can get some of these nicer cocktail cherries. I'm gonna put one of those cherries in the bottom of each of these. And then to the cherry and the orange, I'm gonna add a 1/2 ounce of our rich simple syrup. So that goes across to all three. And that mixture is going to be our sugar base for this drink and what adds the sweetness to stand up to the spirits. So the next step is to pull out a muddler, wooden spoon, anything blunt you have in the kitchen. And now I'm going to smash that cherry into a nice pulp. Really just want that basically to turn into a flavored syrup with the sugar, with the simple syrup we put in there. And then we're also going to muddle out just the center of that orange, just the fruit part, not the pith and the zest on this. We're just going to muddle that into a little syrup at the bottom of our glasses here. And you want to leave that pith alone because this isn't really a bitter cocktail that we're dealing with. It's kind of all about the sweet notes. So we want all of that brought together. All right. So now that we've got those, we can move on to our spirits. Okay, so that's the sweet base. Makes this drink a little bit more similar to a cobbler, actually, for the cocktail nerds out there. But on top of that, we're going to drop 2 ounces of brandy. Now, if you're making the classic bar version of this drink, I would not recommend pulling out the cognac or any nicer brandies. I would go with the classic Corbel. My grandmother used to drink it by the pint. It's a good way to go. All right, so we have in our glass our spirits, our sugar, our fruit. Onto that goes ice immediately. Okay, so the next thing you need to choose anytime you're in a bar in Wisconsin is if you want your Brandy Old Fashioned sweet, sour, or press, typically, which is going to be a combination of soda and Sprite. So we're going to make all three here. So this one is just going to get a topper of Sprite, 7-Up works, any kind of white soda. A sour is going to get a topper of Squirt, Jolly Good, any kind of sour citrus that you have. And then a press is going to be half and half of Sprite and soda. So those are the typical ways that you can order a Brandy Old Fashioned at the bar. Then the next thing that comes is the garnish. So a typical garnish, if you don't ask for anything, you're going to end up getting a Brandy Old Fashioned sweet with a typical garnish, which is going to be some kind of a cocktail cherry on a pick with a flag of orange dropped in the top. Glorious and fantastic. You can also take, double cherries if you like, or whatever. You can order your garnish kind of however you want. You can put those on there. Or, if you're feeling a little bit more adventurous, my order is always a Brandy Old Fashioned press. So it's a little bit lighter and less sweet with olives. You get that olive brine that plays with the sweet of the fruit, and it's kind of a sweet and salty. I think that's a fantastic way to go. So there you have it. You've got a Brandy Old Fashioned sweet, totally classic Wisconsin down the middle, Brandy Old Fashioned sour, double cherries, and a Brandy Old Fashioned press with olives. That's a pretty great lineup of classic Wisconsin bar fare there. I highly recommend pulling some of those together. And then for those of you in Wisconsin, I figured I'd bring together something that's a little bit different, but but still recognizable. So for this one, instead of using the fruit or the center of the orange, what I'm going to do is just use a vegetable peeler and steal a nice swath of orange zest here. So I've got none of that bitter pith, but all of the orange zest oils there. And then I'm going to use just a single sugar cube, pop that in, and I'm going to use that to grind that that orange zest into a pulp. So kind of crush your sugar cube there, and then I'm going to muddle this aggressively to really get all of that orange zest built into that sugar cube. You'll see that sugar cube will turn really into a syrup really rapidly if you rub that around. All those oils will be drawn out by the sugar. So you end up with a really nice orange flavored sugar there. Then it's nice to bring out some nicer cherries. You can use the, I've got some Amarena cherries. The Luxardo cherries are really nice. Those more classically made maraschino style. Or if we keep it all Wisconsin like we are with this one, I've got some dried Door County cherries here that I just throw in a jar with some maraschino liqueur, which you can find at most grocery stores or liquor stores or whatever. Throw a couple of those in there. Give those a quick muddle to break them up into that sugar zest. Okay, want to keep all that goodness in there. Okay, then on top of that, we're going to use for this one a little bit of a nicer brandy. This is the Cocard, which is made here in Wisconsin by Wollersheim Winery, actually. So it's an estate-grown, estate-distilled brandy, which is kind of fun. So I'm going to put on top of that 2 ounces of our Cocard brandy. And then we're going to ice that down. But instead of lengthening this drink with, like a 7-Up or a soda or anything like that, we're actually going to use crushed ice to lengthen the drink. So just crush a little bit of ice. Then we're going to top it right on there. And we've got our nice snowy top right on there. On top of that, I'm going to garnish this with just a couple more of those delicious cherries. Just hidden right on the side. And there you have it. So we have a little bit of an upscale Wisconsin style Brandy Old Fashioned, a Brandy Old Fashioned sweet, sour press, and a French peppercorn limeade. I hope everybody's staying safe, finding ways to have fun at home, and cheers.